Hey there, welcome back to my kitchen. Today we are going to be making some party foods or finger foods, whatever you want to call them, for any type of get-together that you may have coming up. All of these are pretty affordable. I did not spend a fortune to make any of them, and all of them were really easy to do as well. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and hopefully it helps you out in some way, even if you make one of these for a lunch or dinner. But let's go ahead and get started, and I will show you what I made. This is definitely one of my favorites from when I was a kid. We are going to make some pigs in a blanket, but to make these party friendly, we're going to make them minis. I went ahead and preheated my oven to 375 degrees, and now I'm just opening up one can of crescent rolls. Once you get these open, you'll want to press them together into little rectangles. So you will just take two of the triangles and press them together. You can also use a crescent sheet for this, but those are more expensive. And now just using a pizza cutter, I'm going to take this section of crescent rolls and cut it into 3 equal pieces. You should end up with 12 strips of crescent dough. Now I'm just repeating the same thing, but I am using some American cheese. American cheese is my favorite to use in this just because that's how we always had it as kids. But if you want to use a higher quality cheese, you definitely can. And I'm just going to repeat this with 4 slices of cheese to make 12 little strips of cheese. And last but not least, we are going to pull out some hot dogs. Any hot dogs will do. You could also use smoked sausage too if you prefer. You will actually need 4 hot dogs. I did not pull out enough, so you'll just cut all of those into 3 pieces to have 12 little pieces of hot dog. Now taking one of the crescent dough strips, you'll lay that down, add the cheese to the end, the hot dog on top, and then just roll it right up. So simple and easy. These really take no time at all to make. These are great because they are super inexpensive. And if you wanted to double this recipe, you would just have to buy another package of crescent dough because you already will have more cheese and you'll already have more hot dogs. I'm adding all of those little mini pigs in a blanket onto a baking sheet lined with some parchment paper. And those are going in my oven to bake for about 10 to 12 minutes until they get a nice golden color. Here's what they'll look like when they are all done. Super quick and simple, like I said. And the reason I love to use American cheese in these is just because I feel like it melts so much better and the cheese really spreads throughout a lot better than like a deli cheese. So that's why I prefer to use the American cheese, but you can pick whatever cheese that you would like. Next, we're making something you can honestly never go wrong with, in my opinion. We are making some pizza bagels. I went ahead and preheated my oven to 350 degrees, and now I have a package of these mini bagels, which honestly, these did not seem that mini to me. I remember them being a lot smaller than this, but they still worked out just fine. I prefer to use the minis when I'm going to be serving them for like an appetizer, just because they're a lot smaller than a traditional bagel. I have a baking sheet with some parchment paper on it. You can also just spray down your baking sheet, whatever is easier for you. I'm going to go ahead and just take the time to break all of these bagels apart. Some of them needed a little help with the knife, but after I get those all separated, we will start adding on the toppings. Something that I meant to do in this video and just totally slipped my mind was to stick these in the oven for about 5 to 7 minutes to crisp them up just a little bit before adding on the sauce. If these are going to be sitting out as a party food for game day or whatever, you want them to not get soggy from the sauce. So if you add them into the oven for a few minutes prior, that will help with that issue. Since I forgot, we'll just pretend I did it. Next, I'm adding on that pizza sauce all over each one. Just add about 2 to 3 tablespoons per bagel piece. After getting the sauce all on there, I am going to sprinkle these very lightly with garlic powder and oregano. Now we're going to add some shredded mozzarella cheese. My favorite mozzarella to use is the whole milk mozzarella. It melts 10 times better than the low moisture one, so just keep that in mind. You will notice some of these I used whole milk mozzarella, and the other ones I had to use the low moisture just because that's what I had. In the end, you can tell which ones melted better than the others. Now to add the pepperoni, of course, I went ahead and took some regular size pepperoni. It is cheaper than buying the little mini pepperoni pieces, and I just cut those in 4 pieces each to make some mini pepperonis of my own without having to buy the little ones in the packages. And I'm going to add about 4 to 5 pieces of pepperoni to each one of my bagels. You can also add other toppings as well if you want to do half with pepperoni, half just cheese, or do half pepperoni and the other half have mushroom and onion. You can do whatever you want to do, but pepperoni is definitely the easiest. Usually everyone likes cheese and pepperoni. These are going in my oven to bake for about 8 to 10 minutes until the cheese is fully melted and they are crisp around the edges. Here's what they look like coming out of the oven. You can already tell which ones have the whole milk mozzarella and which ones are low moisture. The ones in the front here look so much better than the ones in the back. The cheese just melts perfectly like a blanket over top. And these ones in the back aren't as smooth looking, but they still tasted great. Like I said, I don't think you can ever go wrong with a pizza bagel. They are so good, especially when you make them homemade. Store-bought ones are okay, but homemade are superior. This is another household favorite. We're gonna make these cracked chicken sliders. I'm sure you've probably seen these on the internet before, but these are really good if you have never made them. I would definitely suggest trying them. I am adding in 2 chicken breasts, along with half a package of ranch seasoning, and then 4 ounces of cream cheese. Once all that's in there, I'm just going to add the lid and let this go on a low heat for about 4 hours until the chicken is all the way cooked. About 30 minutes before the chicken is done, I am going to start cooking some bacon. I only cooked about 3 pieces of bacon because these slices seem to be so thick and also very wide. Usually I would probably use about 4 to 5 slices of smaller ones, but these ones I really honestly did not need to use any more bacon. I went ahead and browned that up, and when it was all done, I just chopped it up into nice small pieces. Here is the chicken after that 4 hours. It was perfectly cooked and very easy to shred at this point. I just used a nice big fork to shred that right in my crock pot. I didn't really see the need to take it out. And after shredding it, I am adding in a little bit of dill. I really like to elevate the dill flavor. That makes it extra good to me. So I add about a half teaspoon of dill, the chopped bacon, and about a half cup to 3/4 of a cup of shredded mild cheddar cheese. Go ahead and give that a really good mix together, and then I will show you how to turn these into sliders. Since we're turning these into sliders, there is only 2 of us at our house. I wasn't actually having a party or get together when I made these. Just wanted to make them to throw the idea out there for you. So I am only making 6 sliders, but this recipe actually makes enough to make 2 packages of sliders, which is 24. So you will just want to cover that bottom layer of slider buns with that mixture. You can add as much as you want. And then over top of that, I'm adding more mild shredded cheddar cheese. I probably added about a half cup to 3/4 of a cup extra over the top. I added the top buns on, and then instead of adding butter, since these are already not very healthy for you, I went ahead and just sprayed them down with some avocado oil. That way the tops of the buns would get nice and brown in the oven. These went in my oven to bake for about 8 to 10 minutes until the cheese had nicely melted throughout and the tops of the buns browned up nicely. Here's what they looked like on my plate. These are super easy and quick to do because, mostly it's in the crock pot, so you aren't super hands-on with this recipe. You just have to add them to the slider buns obviously at the end, but that's not too much work. It's very easy, very quick. These are a great finger food because they are sliders instead of full sandwiches. And like I said, they have the potential to make about 24 sliders. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I really appreciate you being here and supporting my little channel. Don't forget to leave me a flower down in the comments below to let me know that you watched all the way through, and I will see you guys back here next time. Bye!